Trump was on the flight log, Epstein flight log, at least 6 times. He's a liable sexual abuser. He's had 25 women accuse him of rape. He bragged on the Howard Stern show about going into teenage girls' pageant locker rooms.
I have a Piers Morgan panel lined up for us with crystal ball of breaking points, shutting down the other MAGA members in a debate. So if you can, take a moment, leave us a like on the video. It lets us know you enjoy the content. It gives us a big boost in the algorithm, really helps the channel out a ton. So let's get our fact checks and our context ready and see what we can add to the conversation.
Doge is costing the federal government money based on the cuts they made at the IRS. It has made it less efficient. Just try to get your Social Security check and tell me how well the government is working in the wake of Doge. But Elon did accomplish some things that were important to him. All those investigations into his companies, which were rightfully going forward, that's all gone. The CFPB, the anti-scam bureau that was set to regulate Twitter, that basically doesn't exist anymore.
I think the
and he was
answer
able
here,
to
Piers,
suck out data out of the federal government. God knows what he's going to do with that. So yes, it's been damaging to him. I'm sure he has many regrets, but let's also not pretend like he didn't accomplish incredible destruction and damage that also personally was beneficial to him.
Wonderful points. And Elon really did get the better of, well, America here, because for the small cost to him, of course, of $300 million, Trump gave him Doge under the guise of cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, of which we all knew was never going to happen. Those of us outside of the cult, which he failed 99.7% of that goal. But instead he was able to end all investigations into his company. He was able to gut the CFPB, which literally stopped rich tech bros like him from scamming Americans to the tune of billions of dollars, and to get a bunch of Americans' data to take to his buddy Peter Thiel at Palantir for God knows what. Trump literally sold the government and American interest to the richest man in the world just to have essentially freedom from his felonies. He himself, by the way, who he himself calls a drug addict and an undocumented immigrant with serious problems. This is who we allowed to do that. And people still support this clown show for whatever reason.
He did this for himself, the same reason why Donald Trump ran for office. They're in it for themselves and their investors, and to enrich themselves further. Going to what Roger Stone just said, and Clay, about the fact that Donald Trump can't be in these Epstein files. First of all, let's look at his history. He's a liable sexual abuser. He's had 25 women accuse him of rape or sexual assault, including his ex-wife, in court documents. He bragged on the Howard Stern show about going into teenage girls' pageant locker rooms, watching them undress in a sexual manner. And we hear Roger and Clay today saying, oh, there's no way that he could be in those Epstein files. And Roger, you're wrong, okay? In the Maxwell trial, we learned that Trump was on the flight log, Epstein flight log, at least 6 times. And Jeffrey Epstein said at one time that Donald Trump was his best friend. Okay, and that Epstein had dirt on Trump.
Let's just be so for real here. Trump is almost definitely on the Epstein list, but even if he's not, the evidence of him being a pedophile is like insurmountable already. MAGA just doesn't care. Wonder why that is. Let's forget the fact that he's an adjudicated rapist, 9-0 in a court, right? With 25 sexual assault allegations against him, including one from a minor. The idea you get that many allegations against you and you didn't do it to at least one of them, wild. But he did go on the Howard Stern show and brag about walking in the changing room of teen beauty pageants at the teen beauty pageant he owned. At least 4 girls at the teen beauty pageants who were kids at the time have came out and said that he walked through their locker rooms regularly while they were naked. He is on video telling a 10-year-old girl he would date her in 10 years. He said he would date his daughter if she wasn't his daughter. He was sexualizing her on the Howard Stern show as well while she was still a child. The dude is definitely a rapist. He's almost definitely a child molester, and yet MAGA will still tell you that it's all just political persecution and fake news. But they're not a cult, guys. Definitely not a cult.
Who are the co-conspirators? Ask the U.S. Attorney.
It'd be nice to have Epstein files to know that, wouldn't it?
But Brian, I would say, Brian, this. I thought that Clay made a very good point. The Democrats literally threw everything but the kitchen sink, and that was because they couldn't wrestle the sink off its bolts. Otherwise, they would have thrown that as well at Trump. And the point being, they had, but here's the point: they had access to the Epstein files. If there was anything in there whatsoever that was even a tiny bit damaging to Trump, they'd have leaked it, wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, you could make the same argument with Republicans going after Joe Biden, calling them the Biden crime family. For years, we've been hearing the Biden crime family. There have been all these investigations. We heard about Hillary Clinton and 8 investigations into Benghazi. Republicans seem to find nothing. So I think the right is doing that more than the left.
It's funny because Piers is so close to getting it. Like with that question, he's so close to getting it. It's because the left hasn't thrown anything at Trump. And if they would, you're saying it right there. There's plenty of avenues they could have went to easily do so. And they didn't, which disproves what Piers is trying to say. And he's so close to understanding that. But critical thinking, MAGA, doesn't go together. No one's targeting Trump for anything. He just does a lot of bad things. He's literally just an absolute piece of shit. I don't get why that's so hard to quantify for the people in the cult. And the people who are smart enough to get that, they're really just taking advantage of those who don't have critical thinking abilities so they can stay in political power. The idea that there's some mass conspiracy against all elected Democrats who can't even get along with anything else, but there's this, they all agree on this. Every mainstream media outside of Fox is in on this, and all attorneys general, all district attorneys. It's just batshit crazy alone that could be a conspiracy that we believe in, that they're all just united against Trump because, well, that's not something you should think about. And it's also something they'll never provide a shred of evidence for. But then you add in the fact that they also, to believe this, have to think that both grand juries, multiple grand juries, and multiple juries are in on this conspiracy, as multiple grand juries found evidence enough to indict him on 88 felonies, and a jury found enough to find him guilty and convict him on 34 of those, including then a separate jury that also has to be in on this conspiracy that found 9-0 that Trump sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll. You then have the fact that he appealed his felonies that went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they 9-0 said that nothing was wrong with the case. So they're in on the conspiracy too. Oh, and then you also have to think all judges are in on the conspiracy. Every judge that, even the Trump appointed ones that have ruled against him, all also in on this conspiracy. But we're not done. We're not done with it yet, because all the people testifying against Trump in his trials on what they personally heard and witnessed, they're all in on it. All the documents that have proved Trump has done these things, they're all fake and made up and compromised and fake news. The audio recordings of Trump are all out of context. Not a single one is in context. Nothing he's ever said in his entire life is in context. Even the lifelong Republicans now who are coming out and saying, yeah, Trump did these things, he's a bad person, this and that. They're, of course, just the deep state. What is the deep state? Who knows? Who cares, right? That's what they are. It's like, at what point can we just stop giving these people airtime and pretending that we have to take them serious? Like, let's just slide some construction paper their way, slide some crayons, and tell them to have fun at the kids' table.